Hello, my name is Alex Spangler, and I am the co-editor-in-chief of the Capital Times, which is the a.spang school newspaper. This is a short documentary on the voice of the student body. Capital Times has been around since the late 60s. Each year we put out about 10 issues. We have already released 8 of the 10 issues that we put out every year. Let's interview some staff.
My name is Megan Whitmer. I am a senior communications major and I'm the PR coordinator of the Capital Times.
What has been the major focus for the Cap Times this semester?
The main focus of the Cap Times for this semester is to have students engage with the student body and come to us in the paper and know that they have their own voice that they can share through our newspaper.
What would you say to your non-readers?
If they're bored, they need to pick up a paper and see what's going on campus and engage in more activities. They can make friends that way, get involved. Lots of good articles and stories about events going on, even around the city of Harrisburg and Middletown.
Do you consider the Cap Times to be cliquey or more of a tight-knit group?
I think we're definitely a tight-knit group that encourages more people to join, because the more staff that we have, the more successful we're going to be, and the closer that we are, the harder we're going to work. And it's a great way to make new friends who aren't necessarily communication majors, as everyone thinks that we are. We all learn from each other.
So for you, what does it mean to be part of staff?
Going to events, writing articles, taking pictures. It's definitely a real life experience for what we want to do in the future.
So on average, how much time do you spend on each issue of the paper?
On each issue of the paper, depending on whether or not I write an article, if I attend a huge event, like I've attended the inauguration and the Sandusky sentencing, I would say I've spent quite a few hours.
And what would you consider the hardest part of your job being?
The hardest part of my job is getting our Twitter and Facebook followers to engage with us. We have tried numerous ways to have them respond to our tweets or Facebook posts, and it's hard to get them engaged because it really is a student-run paper and we want the students' input, and they don't really seem to want to give their input.
My name is Clarice, and I'm the co-editor-in-chief of the campus newspaper.
For the Capital Times, what has been the major focus of this semester?
The major focus for this semester, I think, is to get a bigger audience. I think a lot of people fail to realize that we have 4,000 students here, and I want everyone on this campus to know what our paper is and what's going on, so that's the main focus, is getting those kids to read our paper.
Okay, and what would you say to your non-readers?
I'd tell them to check it out, or stop by the office and tell us why don't you read the paper or what you don't like about it.
What would you say to our readers that do read the paper?
I tell them thank you, that they're awesome for reading it, and to tell their friends to read it.
Would you say that the Cap Times is cliquey or more like a tight-knit group?
I'd say we're a tight-knit group. A lot of people come in during common hour and we literally just sit in here and talk about nonsense. It's fun. A lot of people come in here and just hang out on the couch. And we've had a lot of random people come in that I've never met before, and they've joined our group, and we're very welcoming.
So what does it mean to be part of staff?
Well, that's a good question. Okay, part of staff. Right now we kind of have a come and go staff where they come and hang out when they want to, and contribute every now and again when they have the time for it. So I'd say to be a part of our staff would mean when you are capable of dedicating your time to Cap Times, you're more than welcome to come in. But if you are stressed, if you have something going on, if you don't have time, then we are understanding and you could take care of that and then come back to us.
So what does it mean for you to be the co-editor-in-chief?
For me to be the co-editor-in-chief, kind of just run shit, along with my co-partner. Basically, we take care of all the layout, design, the content, our staff, keeping them on track with deadlines, things like that, our print schedule, how we work within the school and how people see us, and crisis management in times where we need crisis management.
On average, how much time do you spend on each issue of the paper?
On average, I would say getting everything in by deadline on the editor's part, I would say it takes about 3 days. It's a 3-day process. Usually before it goes to print, we're in the hours on average about 11 to 14 hours straight just doing layout. But we work around the clock all semester long, so I would say deadline weekend is 3 days, Friday to Sunday, but we never stop.
So what's the hardest part of your job?
The hardest part of my job is having high expectations. I really want this to be awesome and for everyone to relate to us and it to be a kick-ass paper, and I think the hardest part is not having a team with the same motivation or same passion. So getting my staff motivated to, work their ass off just as much as I do, or we all being on the same page to get this done with the same common goal. I think that's the hardest part of my job.
So as part of staff, do you receive any credit from the school or monetary gain for your time?
No, we don't get shit. We don't get anything. We don't get paid. This goes on my resume, and even when it goes on my resume, when I go in for jobs, they still aren't like, oh, that's awesome, here's a job. So I really don't get anything from this.
So what's the overall goal of Cap Times?
The overall goal of the Cap Times is to be a voice. I would like it to be that old school, like, we are the college students and we revolt against administration and we're rebels, and that's the goal of Cap Times, is to be that voice, and there's no one stopping us from saying what we have to say, so why don't take advantage of this medium and be rebels, be young adult students like we are, and say what we have to say.
To expand on what you just said about not having any rules or regulations, do you have anybody that approves the paper before it goes out, or is that more of just all the students?
I'm pretty sure we're supposed to have someone read over it before it goes out, but not that I know of. Honestly, we sit here, we get it done, and we turn it in, and it goes to print. There's no one who stops it or reads it before it goes out to the students. So honestly, your voice does not get filtered.
To our readers, keep on reading and spread the word. To our non-readers, what are you waiting for?
The end.